This is KHEA Radio. It's Clear Life Combat. My name is Gardy. I have a guest that's zooming in. I'm going to let her introduce herself, and we're going to have some fun. Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you? My name is Madison Guinn.
Madison.
Center.
Yeah, you train at War, right?
I do. It's an awesome gym. Best gym in Houston.
You have an event that's coming up, and it's with Submissions on the Shore. It's going to be at the Booker T World Gym Arena. I think that is March 19th. What do you have going on there?
Man, I'm really excited about that. So the last time I've competitively wrestled was July 2018. So this is going to be a freestyle wrestling match. The first time I've wrestled in 4 years since I kind of retired from wrestling. So this is really cool. It's like a comeback match for me. And it's against a really good girl. She wrestles at Wayland Baptist, where I actually was committed to go wrestle. So it's going to be kind of cool to see like how my skills add up to her skills at a school that I was supposed to be at. It's gonna be cool. She's not a scrub. She's definitely I got my work cut out for me.
So what happened there? Why did you choose not to go to that school?
Wrestling for women is not as advanced as we'd liked it to be. We're not an NCAA sport. It's a WCWA, Women's Collegiate Wrestling Association. And within the last recent years, we've started getting women's wrestling in NCAA. I think Iowa just committed to have their first women's team, but it's moving still kind of slow. And so for the longest, what you were going to get as a scholarship was like $6,000 a year. Like, you're a good wrestler, you get $6K for the year. And I don't know if you ever looked at college tuition, but $6,000 is nothing for a year. So I got a bunch of like offers and I went to a bunch of schools, and I finally committed at Wayland Baptist in Plainview, Texas, because they had a really good team and it was the best price I was going to get with my academic and my wrestling scholarship. And even still, after 4 years, I was going to be paying $196,000 out of pocket just to wrestle. So I was like, you know what? I'm realistic. I'm a good wrestler. I'm decent, but I'm not going to make it to the Olympics. And there's no reason for me to spend $200,000 just to go play, you know? So I was like, I'm going to go to school here in Texas at Sam Houston. My tuition is paid for by my dad's GI Bill. So I pay like $500 a semester versus $13,000. And I started Jiu Jitsu in the community. I started MMA, and honestly, I'm way happier with where my life has gone because of it.
Okay, so you mentioned, I guess, Women's Collegiate Wrestling, WCW. It makes me think of professional wrestling. Growing up, did you watch any of that, or how did you get started into wrestling in high school?
You know, I actually didn't. I didn't like WWE. I thought it was so stupid. Like, I was like, this stuff's fake. Like, This isn't real. They're slamming chairs on each other. And so it kind of gave me like a dumb view of wrestling before I ever wrestled. And then from the other point of it, when I was like in 9th grade, I was just like, I don't know. I was dumb. I was like, I don't want to roll around on the ground with girls. Like, I don't want people to think I'm weird and all this stuff. And I also had too many classes for like my 9th grade. So 10th grade came, and me and my brother, so I have a six-year older than me brother. He's 26. Mm-hmm. And as you know, if you have an older brother, like, all you're going to do is fight and wrestle all day long. So we would fight and we would wrestle, and my cousins and me would wrestle on the trampoline. And it was just me and a bunch of boys doing boy stuff all the time. And they were like, you're really strong. You should try wrestling. I think you'd be really good at it. And I was like, man, I don't know. And I needed an extra class, and the wrestling coach was new that year, and he came to my class because he heard I was interested, and he pulled me out, and I was like his first person he recruited while he was there. And he just was like, you should just come try it. Just sign up for the class. If you don't like it, I'll let you out, And I was like, okay. So I signed up for the class, and the first class I did, we learned how to do double legs. And just for them to put in my brain that I could pick up a grown man and put him on the ground. First day I did wrestling, I was hooked after that. I was like, okay, this is real stuff. I actually want to do this. It wasn't WWE,
Did you go back and use that on your brother or any of your cousins, any of those guys?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. So it took a while when I first started doing wrestling. My first 2 years, I wasn't better than my brother because he's still stronger than me. So it hurt me. I was like, no, I'm learning all this stuff and he's still beating me. But then he now I think it was 6 months ago, we were in the swimming pool at my dad's house, and I suplexed him 8 times in the swimming pool. We counted, and he was trying to not let me, and I would just take him and just throw him behind me in the swimming pool, and he'd get water all up his nose, and he's like, dude, this is not right. But now I can beat my brother. So all the hard work paid off.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine your life without combat sports, or if you never would have took that chance and started wrestling? How has it
I
changed your
don't
life?
even know. I don't even know what I would have done. I think I'd be in the Air Force probably, because I did ROTC in high school, and my dad is in the Air Force, my brother's in the Air Force. So my original plan was to go to the Air Force, go to college, get my degree, go in as an officer, maybe do JAG, something like that. But now that I want to fight, like, this is way cooler than the Air Force. So
Yes.
I would be doing something I'd probably be bored doing.
You know, I guess, did Albert with Submissions on the Shore, did he reach out to you, or how did that connection happen?
Yeah, I followed them on Instagram because I'd been seeing that they'd like picked up Steam, and they were a really good promotion, and they were doing like all these all women cards. And after I followed them, they sent me like a screenshot of their poster, and like a link to sign up. And I was like, okay, I'll sign up then. And I signed up, and they put me on the card. And I've been trying to get on this card for like a year. I think I've been trying to get on a Subs on the Shore card. So it's pretty cool to finally be on one. It's a really good promotion.
Yeah. How does that make you feel that they reached out to you? I mean, that's pretty cool.
That is cool. You know, it makes me feel like, wow, like people from the outside can look in and look at my page and go, okay, she's decent. You know, like she's talent that we want on our card, you know, because it's most of the time it's you reaching out, or you signing up for a tournament, or your coach is finding you something. So it's always nice whenever like you get hit up about a competition. You're like, oh, I'm worthy. Like,
Yeah.
It was cool. It was really cool.
I've had the chance to talk to Albert a couple times, and we communicate quite a bit. I went to his event in Galveston when they had it, I guess about a year ago, and I'm excited. I was like, come back, please come back. And I'm excited they're in Texas City because that's like super close to where we are. But if I remember correctly, I think he coached at Wayland Baptist. But I could
Really? You know, he did. He did. He messaged me about that. I forgot. He said, you know, small world. I used to coach at Wayland where you were wrestling. I never actually went and wrestled because like 2 weeks before school started, I called and decommitted. But like, yeah, I found out that that's small world. It's really cool.
Yeah. After you called and decommitted, was there ever a point where you're like, did I make the right choice? I know it's a lot of money, but I love wrestling.
Yeah. So I did feel that way. When I called to decommit, it was 2 weeks before school started. Like, I had a dorm, I had a spot on the team. Like, I was going to wrestle. And I went to Fargo. Fargo's what did it for me. I went to Fargo Nationals, and it was a 9-day trip of just for 7 days. It was travel and training. And so like on a normal training day, it was like wake up, train, shower, eat, train, shower, eat, go to bed. And like for 9 days, or 7 days, it was like this, and driving like 16, 20 hours to get to North Dakota. So the trip was terrible. And I did I trained so hard for this. Like the 7 days that I was training, it was the hardest training of my life. And I was like, wow, this is hard. And they were like, yeah, this is college. I was like, wow. Oh. And then like I went to Fargo and I competed, and I lost in the blood round. And so I if I had won that match, I would have been All-American. I would have placed, I would have medaled. And so after that, like I was just so soul crushed. I was like, you know what, wrestling is not for me. I'm not gonna spend $200,000 because I suck. Like I was just kind of like, I definitely wasn't in a good mindset when I did it. I was in a like, you know what, I'm done. Like I can't pay all this money. I'm not that good. Like I'm not doing this anymore. And then when I did that, I kind of got depressed, honestly, because for a year I wasn't doing any sports, and I was just going to school. I was going to classes, which you don't like school. I didn't have any friends at this new school that I was going to. All I had was like my boyfriend back in Houston, and it was a lot. And I was like, man, like I need to do something with my life. I need to like get back on the horse. Like I can't just sit around and go to class all day. I'm going to be depressed. So I started going to my first class at Gracie Baja West Chase. I started training Jiu Jitsu there back in like summer 20, no, yeah, back in like 2019, I think, 2018. Like right after the summer. And that was cool. I started learning that like my wrestling put me way ahead of all the other white belts. And once I realized I had like an edge on people, like I was like, okay, I'm coming back. Like I'm already way ahead of the curve. Like this is basically wrestling, but there's like submissions involved. I think I can get really good at this. And then I moved to Huntsville. I don't know if you know where Huntsville is, where Sam Houston is, up an hour and away. So I couldn't really train down here anymore, and I didn't have jiu-jitsu anymore. And I was like, what am I gonna do? And they had like a boxing gym up there I'd never heard of. So I joined that and did that until I could move back to Houston, and now I'm doing MMA, the best gym in the world.
And that's War Training Center, right?
Yes, War Training Center. And so that's at the end of the day, like I didn't make the wrong decision. Like I made the right decision. But when it first all happened, yeah, I was like, man, I just ruined this for myself. Like I had everything going. I had a college that I could go wrestle at, you know, I could be at world team trials. I really thought I ruined it for myself, but it turned out to be a blessing in disguise because I've gotten back tenfold what I would have gotten if I was wrestling.
You know, okay, so you mentioned you found jiu-jitsu, then you found boxing, and then moving to war. Did you immediately want to start fighting MMA or competing, or what was that mindset like?
Yeah, when I started boxing, I didn't have any jiu-jitsu at the time. I had no grappling on the side. So all I was doing was boxing. And I really missed grappling. I was like, man, I just learned how to do jiu-jitsu. Like, I want to go back. I want to do this jiu-jitsu stuff. But there's nothing in Huntsville to do. And the wrestling team at Huntsville and Sam Houston was like, they showed up to practice once a week. It was like 3 people and they weren't that good. And so it's like wasting my time to go wrestle at Sam Houston. So I really missed grappling. And I also was like, you know, it'd be really cool to like punch somebody on the ground.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like there's something to this. And I had heard about War when I wrestled, because when I wrestled, War was known for having a good wrestling team as well. And so I started looking at their Instagram online, and I was just looking at like the people who were fighters at War and just looking at their Instagrams. And I was like, you know, like, I think this is the place for me. I think this is where I would probably like my views would best align. And I talked to some people and I got into a practice, snuck my way into a Saturday MMA practice that's invite only. And they were like, who is this girl? But ever since then, like I've been hooked. It's the gym for me. It's the people are just like-minded. Everybody wants to get better. Everybody wants to grow together. Nobody is in competition with each other. Nobody's talking crap about each other. Nobody dislikes each other, has cliques. It's like everyone's a big family and we all just want to see each other succeed. And it's the best thing that could have happened to me, honestly.
Yeah, I've heard the training at War it's pretty intense. And then I've seen some of the stuff that they do on Saturday just from clips that will be shown. I mean, when you had that initial experience, did you immediately feel like this, or like, what am I doing? Or this is hard, or I'm going to keep going?
You know, so when I first started boxing sparring, I thought I made a mistake. Because when I first got hit in the face up in Huntsville, I was like, oh no, like I've never been punched before. This kind of sucks. And it's like kind of like a shock at first when you start sparring. So then when I had my first MMA sparring, like that was a whole different animal. Like I'm not just getting punched with a 16-ounce glove. I'm getting punched with these tiny little puppies and they're kicking me. And I don't know how to block kicks. I've never done Muay Thai before. So I don't know how to check kicks at the time. So like I felt like, I don't know, when I went from wrestling to jiu-jitsu, I felt like I had to start all over again. And then I went to boxing, I had to start all over again. And then I went to MMA, and it wasn't like I had to start all over again because I knew all these concepts and I just had to bring them together. But it just felt like this door open, and I just saw like, wow, I'm never going to learn everything. Like, this is crazy because these, you know, you think you've got this girl that's really good at kicks and you're like, okay, she's really good at kicks. I'll just take her down. And then maybe she's really good at ground game too, or vice versa. And so every girl has something different to offer in sparring. And so it's just constantly like you're getting something different thrown your way. And when I first started, there was a lot of tension, maybe. I don't know, there's a lot of tension when I first started at War because I was a new girl. You know, there's a pecking order, of course. And so I felt like I was fighting for my life for the first like a month. Every time I went in there, like I had to box to save my life. And now that everybody's cool, everybody's friends, everybody loves each other, like, and everybody trains, like we've found a way that we can get our training to match and flow. It's the best sparring rounds. Like I get so many good looks, and so I learned so much, you know, like sparring with Mia, for example. Mia's starting to try to work on her southpaw now. So she's been standing in southpaw every time we spar. And so now I'm like, dang, like I forgot there's people who stand in southpaw and I'm going to have to learn how to box them. And now I've got Mia who does southpaw and I can box her. And man, my kicks, I'm getting kicked a lot. I need to go train with Whitney. Whitney's going to try to kick me in the head at 20 times a minute, you know? So the sparring is awesome because they all have something different to offer and they're all challenging me every day.
Okay, you mentioned those pieces of other people's games. Like ideally, whenever it's all said and done, I mean, how do you want yours to look?
I mean, I'm branded already. Like I'm the wrestler.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody has something. I'm the wrestler. But I don't want people just to look at me and be like, oh yeah, she's really good at wrestling. Her striking is okay. You know, I want people to be like, no, dude, she's a monster. She comes in and she does not stop. She's a train. You know, like I have a very come forward style, and even though I'm taking hits, I'm just gonna keep coming forward and taking them because that works best for me. So I want people to look at me and say that I'm a tank, like that I just come forward and I'm unstoppable, because those are the scariest people to fight, is the people that don't stop coming forward.
Mm-hmm. And you've had the opportunity, so you've fought. How many times have you fought, and what's the goal like? Or I guess what was that experience like stepping into the cage?
I'm 2-0 right now, 2 amateur fights, and that was really cool. That was so cool. It was the first time I fought, I'm not gonna lie, one of the scariest moments of my life, because I had never fought before. I'd never been hit as hard as somebody wants to hit me. I've never hit somebody as hard as I want to hit them. I've never, gone for a combo and then felt like got hit so hard that I was like, oh, wait, what am I doing? So to go in there and not have any of those experiences, I was very nervous in a good way, and I was very just like, my adrenaline was going crazy. Like as I was walking out, like my heart felt like it was going to explode out of my chest. And then once we started like jabbing, once I connected one, and I felt the way that my fist affected her face, I know I wasn't knocking her out with that one punch, but I know like my one punch meant something. And I was like, oh, okay. Like if I just keep coming forward, like she can't handle me. And so that's what I did for that whole fight. I just kept coming forward, and I just started feeling myself. I started feeling like this is where I need to be. This is what I need to be doing. Like this is where I'm going to grow. My second fight, I had a lot of time off. I had COVID right before my fight. And so I actually, for the 2 weeks leading up to my fight, was in bed. I couldn't train. I couldn't go anywhere because I had COVID. I wasn't able to spar. I mean, you can't really run that much when you're bedridden. So I couldn't do anything for 2 weeks. And I was so worried. I was like, dude, I'm going to take this fight because like, I know that I can be better by the time the fight comes up. I know I'll be fine. And also I know that I can win this fight. I knew I could win it when I took the fight. And I hate pulling out. I hate people who pull out. I judge them so much. I don't want to pull out. So like, I'm going to do everything I can, fight tooth and nail to make sure that I can fight. And I had like 3 days before the fight that I was able to like try to blow my lungs out, try to condition. Like I was running on the treadmill, getting in the sauna, having to cut weight after I just spent 2 weeks in bed. Like it was terrible. And so I was really nervous, not in the good way, for that fight, because I was like, man, this is scary. I might be wasting my record for this, I might give up a L because I thought I could handle it and I can't. And what if her cardio is way better than mine because my lungs are shot because I just had an illness, But as soon as we got in there, we started going back and forth, and there's one clip in the fight, and it's like 10 or 15 seconds in, and she throws a straight right, and it like clocks me, and I was like, whoa. And then I see her going to punch again, so I slip, and she kicks me right where I slip in the head. I'm like, whoa, this girl has power. And so once she did that, I was like, nope, I'm not standing here. I'm gonna take her down. So I started getting her towards the fence. I took her down, and once I took her down, like everything felt natural. Everything felt the way it needed to be. Like I felt weird on the feet. I felt like I wasn't like, man, it's been 2 weeks I lost. But once I hit the ground, like this is 7 years of experience. There's no way I'm going to be confused down here. And the win came super fast after that. But both times I felt so excited, so many nerves, so much adrenaline.
Yeah. How much tape do you watch? You go back and watch that fight? I know Coach Copley, he posted on social media after the Fury fights the other day. There's 2 guys, 2 victories, watching the rest of the fights, watching those, breaking it down. Guys are training the next day. How much tape do you watch? And I mean, do you recall every little thing that happens, or you kind of break it down later and then get like remembered what happened?
Yeah, I always record my competition. It doesn't matter what competition is, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, anything, because you're not going to be able to remember it all, and so you're going to need to go back and watch it 20 times and dissect every little bit of it. And I do dissect it. Like I have a little notepad, and all my major jiu-jitsu matches, like my super fights and my fights, I have in there like an entire page of me writing every single thing that I saw myself mess up, where I'm like, dude, you can't roll there because you knew she was going to do that. Things I knew I messed up, and then I try to keep them in my mind. For example, my first fight, I went back and watched it and watched it. I thought I was doing amazing with those Thai kicks, Thai hops. Like I thought I was doing these amazing Thai hops into punches, and they were so not telegraphed. And then I watched back, and you can hear the commentator saying, yeah, like her Thai hops, I see her doing the Thai hops, but she needs to throw a kick with them. She needs to either start with a kick or end with a kick. And that I was like, man, I didn't even realize in the fight, I'm thinking like I'm killing it with these Thai hops, and really like I'm looking dumb because I don't really know how to do them right. So then now I know how to do Thai hops. I've been doing nothing but Thai hops, you know, into obliques, into other things. So I definitely go back and dissect, because if not, you're not going to remember it all. You're just going to think, man, good performance. Yeah. You know, I did great. And then you go back and you watch and you're like, yeah, I won, but it wasn't that pretty. You know, like my last fight, I was so hyped. I won. I did an awesome job. You know, I submitted her, and then I went back and I watched my film, and I was like, that's embarrassing, because the striking wasn't that great. The striking looked like I had been in bed for 2 weeks. And I was like, oh no, like I was sitting here pumped because yeah, the last 30 seconds of the fight were amazing, but the first 2 minutes of it didn't look so great, you know? Yeah. So I do go back and watch and make sure that I'm seeing everything that I messed up, even though I think I did so great. You know, I got to make sure that I see the flaws too.
You mentioned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competitions. I know you've competed Submission Hunter Pro. I think you even went to the Austin Open last year for IBJJF. Is that, are you focusing only on MMA right now? Are you looking to compete in Jiu-Jitsu? I mean, I know you're doing the submissions on the shore, but other times this year?
Yeah, actually next week I'm going to New Orleans. I'm doing the IBJJF Open. I signed up for gi and no gi, so I'm going to try to do my 2 brackets, and then hopefully I can do open brackets for those. So I'll have like 3 to 4 brackets. A lot of competition. And then next month I've got the Subs on the Shore, March 19th. Honestly, the way I look at it, women pull out so much for fights, and things happen all the time that like fights are never secure. You're never gonna like be able to say 100%. I mean, I know people that have gotten to weigh-ins and weighed in, and then the fight got canceled. You know, so my motto, better to be overbooked than underbooked. I would rather have every single month have a jiu-jitsu competition lined up, and then have to say, hey, IBJJF, I'm gonna have to cancel. Can I get a refund? I have a fight that just came up. You know, like versus, okay, I'm not going to sign up for anything for the next 3 months because I have a fight. And then a week before the fight, it gets canceled. And now I sat around for 3 months doing nothing but training for this fight. And I'm the type of person that I need constant stimulation. Like I need constant goals to achieve and things to work towards, or else I get like complacent. Like I get, you know, chill. I'm just going to practice and doing my thing. I need something to work towards. Dude, next week is IBJJF New Orleans. You can't miss practice. You have to be there, because like, if you go and you lose, you're going to know you didn't give 100%, you know? So I need constant competition, and I need to be overbooked versus underbooked.
When are you looking to get back in the cage?
As soon as possible, as soon as I can find me somebody to put me in a cage with. They offered me a fight March 19th, but I already had my Subs on the Shore, and like, although MMA is my priority and grappling comes second, it just has to be that way. I still very much so love to grapple, and I respect grappling, and I take my position in it very seriously. So if I say I'm going to be there, and I'm going to be there for a weight, and this other girl says she's going to be there, like I'm going to be there March 19th. I'm not going to pull out because something better came along, you know? So it sucks. I just had to say no to a fight. But they're thinking May 5th, there's a fight that they want to try to get me into, or possibly something into April if it comes up. I'm looking for something.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about any cross training or what all goes into this, you know, whether that's like lifting weights or anything else that helps.
Yeah. So what I do twice a week, I do strength and conditioning with my coach, Evans Tobler, and twice a week I do swimming with my coach, Milagros. And this has been the best system for me, because I don't ever have to worry about, oh man, it's 10 o'clock at night, I need to go to the gym to hit weights. I know that twice a week at 6 a.m. I'm working out, I'm lifting weights, I'm running, I'm doing whatever I need to with Tobler. He makes me feel strong. He gets my conditioning up. And then twice a week I'm doing swimming with Milagros. And so that takes the place of running, because when I'm swimming a mile in a session, I basically just ran 3, you know? So swimming has been my cardio. Strength and conditioning has helped a lot, but I can't stress swimming enough, because I used to do all my running. That was my thing. And I don't, like, the last time I ran, I had freaking hair at my ankle because my ankle was not used to running. Like, I don't run anymore. It's so high impact on your knees, on your ankles, on everything. And my knees are pretty bad from wrestling as it is. So I don't need any help with that. And to swim, like, my body feels tired in the sense that I build up lactic acid because I just worked out. My arms are tired, but I don't feel the pain in my hips and my knees and my joints after I swim versus running. And then on top of that, the breathing is crazy. Like, people don't realize how hard swimming is. I used to be like, had a terrible fear of swimming, like a fear of drowning actually. And it would be to the point where if I was tired mid lap, like, I would have to stop the lap, stand up in the pool and breathe and take my second and make sure that I'm okay and I'm not going to drown face down in the pool right now. Because in my mind, if I don't stop right now, like, I'm just going to pass out face down in the pool and just die. So swimming has really helped with not only getting my cardio up and making me like an animal. I can last as many rounds as you need me to, but also like the anxiety of like, even when you're sparring and you're like, oh man, I'm so tired, I'm gonna die if I don't take a breath right now. Like, swimming has made me realize, like, no, you're not gonna die, you're fine. You've swam 4 laps straight without stopping, you can spar for 3 minutes, you'll be okay.
Yeah,
you know,
it's kind of taking you out of a comfort zone. Fighting, it's not a comfortable place. Same thing, I guess, with swimming. I mean, breathing is very important. So it's just getting comfortable being uncomfortable or pushing your limits.
Absolutely. It's besides fighting, swimming is one of the hardest things I've done. Like, besides fighting and wrestling's the hardest, but besides those two, swimming is so hard. And I have so much respect for anybody who does it.
Yeah. I mean, with your background in wrestling, would you say that that's the best base for MMA?
Yes, I would. And you can ask Joe Rogan. He agrees with me. Wrestling, it gives you like wrestling taught me how to be an athlete first and foremost. My coach taught me how to embrace the suck, to embrace the grind, that, you know, good things don't come easy. And that if you want to do a hard sport and be known and get all the glory for doing a hard sport, you got to do a hard sport and you got to put in the work. And wrestling it's a mindset of go, 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 go. There's no stop. There's no take a breath and rest. It's I take them down, I flatten them out, I put them to their back, I pin them. It's no, I'm gonna sit in their guard and like try to pass the legs and like maybe do the, like, there's no chilling in wrestling. And so like that was a big like shock to me when I went from wrestling to Jiu Jitsu. I was like, these people were chilling right now. Like, yeah, this is the easy round. What? So for one, the pace is so much different. The pace is so much go, 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 go. But the aggression too, like in jiu-jitsu, like everybody's your fan. I pull their lapel. I do the no wrestling. Like if I can slam you on the ground, I'm gonna slam you on the ground, and you're not gonna stay on top of me. I'm not gonna give up. It gives you a like, I will not lay here on my back and just take this, you know, because that's one thing I see a lot of people in MMA and jiu-jitsu's problem, I think, is they lay on their back too long and they're complacent to stay here on your back. And in wrestling, you're taught that that's death. That's the worst possible place you could be. So it puts you in a mentality of like, always on top. It puts you in always on top, always go, 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 always the aggressor, always the quickest. Like you want to be the strong person in wrestling versus the elusive or the quick, the cool footwork. Like you're just grind. Yeah. I think nothing can replicate the type of grind wrestling gives you.
Let's talk a little bit about your school. So you said you're in Huntsville or at Sam Houston, you're here, but you're taking like online classes. What are you studying and how much before you're finished?
So I'm studying criminal justice. Sam Houston's the best college in the South for criminal justice. And I'm getting my bachelor's of science in criminal justice with a minor in forensic science. I started doing my online classes beginning of my junior year because COVID hit and they were like, hey, everybody go home, do online classes. And I was like, awesome, this is my time to move to Houston and start doing MMA. So I moved down here and then they opened classes back up. And I was like, no, Houston is so much better than Huntsville. Like there's so much better food. I can do MMA here. I'm not going back. So I just made the switch to all online classes. That way I can train, I can work, I can coach, I can do all the things that I need to do. And then when I get home at 11 o'clock at night, I have an hour to do homework and that's what I do. But it's going to be all over soon because I'm taking 4 classes right now. So 3, 6, 9, 12 credits. And then in May I graduate. I'm done. I'm going to be a graduated college graduate. It's gonna be so exciting.
Yeah. So what are you looking to do with that in the future? I know you're fighting and focusing on your career as well, but it's always good to have education. But what is the hope for that?
Yeah. So in the beginning, when I said I was going to go to college and do a criminal justice degree, the purpose was just to get my bachelor's degree and go in the Air Force, because that's all you need to be an officer and get paid way more. So my plan was get my degree. Criminal justice, for one, is really interesting. I really like crime. I really like learning about, the jail system, parole system, the policing system. All this stuff is really interesting to me, and just crime in general. But also, it's an easy class. I mean, it's really hard to fail criminal justice. You got to be trying to fail criminal justice. So it was another thing that, while it was interesting and kept me going, it also was something that I knew I could handle while I was training and working. It wasn't like, engineering, where I was going to need to be super book smart and like put all my life to college for the next 4 years. So criminal justice has been a great degree for me. Right now, I have a great job. I get paid as much as I need to get paid, and it works with my training schedule. So I kind of want to keep where I'm at. Right now I work at a chandelier store. I sell chandeliers and lighting. It's pretty cool.
That is cool.
It's kind of cool. I didn't realize like how fancy chandeliers really got, but they're expensive. Yeah. And so I want to keep working there until I get fired or it's time to go. I'm not gonna lie, my boss, he's the type of person to do it. He's the type of person to walk in and be like, you didn't clean the bathrooms, you're fired.
Yeah.
So I've got the criminal justice degree in the back just in case that happens. And until then, I want to stay there.
Yeah. What's the most expensive chandelier that y'all have there? Like
$500,000.
How much?
$500,000.
$500,000. And there's people that come in there and drop that?
There's people that have flown in just to see it, because it's there's only 6 of them in the world. It's made by Swarovski, and they made it for it's called the Cascade, and they made it. It's a floor lamp, so it comes all the way from the ceiling all the way down to the floor, and then comes out like a wedding dress almost, and it's all Swarovski crystal. So it's like, it's so crazy expensive, and people come in all the time and they want to touch it. And so like when you touch it, it jingles. You can hear all the crystals touching each other. And he freaks out. Like as soon as you touch it, don't touch that. Like he'll come from across the store to make sure they're not touching it, because I mean, that's $500,000, man. That's an expensive chandelier. I can't cut a check for that.
Yeah, I saw on your, and I didn't know if, I was wondering what kind of work, where you worked at, because you said, hey, there's a chandelier. I think you were kind of upset. You went out in your car. There was a little kid that was touching the chandelier. Yes! You know what I'm talking about?
Yes. So this lady, oh my gosh, so rude. So I got there. My job is I'm a salesperson. So I'm supposed to greet you. I'm supposed to, hey, is there anything in particular you're looking for? Can I help you with anything? And because we have things like chandeliers, I mean, this bougie stuff, you don't see like just anybody off the street walk in and buy a chandelier. These are rich people. These are people driving Bentleys and Mercedes. And so this couple was there with their kid, and I walked up, and he was running around doing whatever, and he ran up on the ground, just starts messing with all the crystals on the ground from the $500,000 chandelier, and it's making all this noise. I was like, hey, bud, you might not want to touch that. I don't think you can cut a check for that. That's a joke. Kids can't write checks.
He's a kid, yeah.
Prove me wrong. Pull out his checkbook, So I was like, you can't write a check for that. And she got so offended that I said that. And she grabbed his hand and she's like, actually, he can. And she starts storming out the door with him. And I was like, what? And her husband follows behind. And I'm just like, okay, cool. And then before she leaves, she's like, you might want to check our cars before we leave, because we drive a Bentley. And I was like, oh my God, like these people are ridiculous. This is what affluenza looks like in the flesh, because that's so ridiculous to think like your kid is exempt from having like social norms from I don't know, just being not a little jerk. Like you can't just let your kid run around in a chandelier store and touch all the crystals. I mean, I thought that was common sense. I don't understand what her problem was. Or
next time, just be like, go ahead and break it, buddy. We'll ring you up on the way out. Break 2. Let's get a sale.
Yeah. One of the managers said, well, I would have told her to come back in. He can break whatever he wants.
He can have it. We'll get him to write his check. Okay, so let's remind everybody, that's going to be Saturday, March 19th. Submissions on the Shore is taking place at the Booker T World Gym Arena. Madison Guinn will be competing at a freestyle wrestling match for the first time in years. So it's going to be exciting. That's going to be streamed on Fight TV, and then you can also attend here in Texas City. So it's going to be awesome. Before we sew it up today, is there anything else that you would like to share?
No, I really appreciate this opportunity. I think what you're doing is so cool. I've been seeing a lot of like local talent on your show, and I've been seeing like my teammates, my coaches. If you guys haven't seen their interviews, should go watch with Adam Copley, Mia Grawl, Hayden Bryars, all of them. They had some really cool interviews. I think it's awesome. I appreciate that you're shedding light on young up and coming fighters in Houston, because oftentimes we don't get enough recognition or any outlet to say who we are and how we're special and why you should pay attention to us. So I really appreciate what you're doing. I think it's awesome.
Thank you. It's fun. I get to learn people's stories, and it's a blast. So tomorrow I get to talk to Miles Banks, who I saw him
that's
watch.
My teammate.
Yes, he's your teammate. I saw him Amateur Series 36. So Hayden is the same card that he was on. There was several War guys on that, and that fight was dominant. Miles Banks' fight, I had never had the opportunity to see him fight. That was my first introduction, and I'm gonna get to learn his story. I'm excited.
He's amazing, dude. He's awesome, and he's a good person as well. Like, he's just such a nice dude. When he first came in the gym, I just remember seeing him and being like, dang, bro, that guy is huge. And
he's like 6'10", right? 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah, he's 6'9". He was the only person to spar, and it was just me and him. And I was like, "Well, I guess we're going, buddy." And I said, "How tall are you?" He said 6'9". I was like, "I'm 5'4". I was like, "How much do you weigh?" 279 pounds. Oh my god! Like, so all I could do, I couldn't even reach his head, dude. Like, I literally was throwing overhands, and I could not reach his head. He was just like, ugh. So that is the most frustrating round I've ever had. I had to all I could do was kick him in the knees. That was it. I had to oblique kick him a bunch of times because that's the only thing I could reach.
Is there anything that I should ask? Anything that you can think of that I should ask him?
Miles, man, I don't know. He's a knockout artist. You gotta let the people know he's a knockout artist. I mean, ask him about his first 2 smokers. Okay. I mean, his first 2 smokers, he knocked these dudes out. Like, this is a smoker. This ain't even a fight. So he's an animal, dude. He's been training for a while from what I've heard. I thought that he started training at War, but I guess he used to train somewhere else. I can't think of the name now. But yeah, apparently he's been in the game for a little bit. He's not a spring chicken. He's been in this.
Cool. I'm excited. So make sure y'all tune in tomorrow, and we'll talk to Miles Banks. Madison, thank you so much for hanging out today. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.